In this video, I'm going to talk to you about what is possibly one of the best skills you can have as a property investor, and that's sourcing properties, finding deals. This is the crucial aspect of what makes or breaks a property investor. So if you want to learn more about how to do that, then watch the rest of this video. So you might have heard of the term property sourcing, property sourcer, deal packager, deal packaging, and basically those things are one of the two. One is the aspect of going out and finding deals, either be it for yourself or for other investors, and then putting the deal together and presenting it as an investment. So that's kind of the idea of it. One is the skill of going out and acquiring property, particularly looking at below market value. I've also got a video to that above. Or if you want to do it for other people, but there's so many aspects to it, from being a sourcer and understanding the skills involved in sourcing for yourself and other people. There's the compliance aspect of it, so making sure that you're compliant and that adheres to the property redress scheme. So I'll talk a bit more about that as well. But overall, this is a strategy that can earn you quite a lot of money, either for investing in yourself, making sure you get the best deals possible, or sourcing to an investor for £2,000, £3,000, £5,000 at a time. So that's big lumps of cash that you can make. Imagine if you just had one deal a month. That could be £5,000 in your pocket a month, every month. So something like that would be a good strategy to get in if you had low funds, and that's what a lot of people do. So in learning this skill is crucial. I'm going to talk to you about every aspect of it so that you have the full knowledge to go and execute it from day one. First aspect is, what is property sourcing? Well, sourcing of a property is when you go and find a property that matches a specific criteria. That's either for yourself or an investor. The way to do that is making sure that you get a property that is usually off market, but it can be on market. But the whole goal behind it is to find a property that is giving you a decent return on investment. So that could be anything from a good yield, a good ROCE, which is return on capital employed, or return on investment, ROI. Those criteria are going to be either met by yourself or with an investor, and understanding what those kind of key aspects are is going to be the part that you're going to have to calculate and make sure that you're hitting that criteria. So that's what you've got to do. That's what you're looking for. You go out with a set agenda. For ourselves, we look at trying to hit investments that are at least 20% ROCE for our own investments. But for investors who are hands-free, they might look at something along the 5 to 8% ROCE with different kind of goals in mind. Those are the things that you need to look at. If you're going to go out and find specifically deals for yourself or an investor, then the whole aspect of property sourcing is the art of finding properties, packaging them up based on a specific criteria, and then finding those properties, negotiating them, getting through legals and getting completed, and having a case for an investment. You know what time it is. Like, comment and subscribe. If you get value from this video, let us know below. Hit the like button and let me know if you're sourcing property for yourself. If you are, put it in the comments. The next part is becoming a property sourcer yourself. So how do you become a property sourcer and earn money, and what can be quite a lucrative career for some? So how do you become a property sourcer? What are the aspects to it? How do you go and make money and make that a potential career shift, getting off your day-to-day job? How do you do that? Well, the way to do that is, first of all, you need to understand what is property sourcing as a career, as opposed to just property sourcing as a skill. Property sourcing as a career is where you charge a buyer a premium. So we charge a fee for introducing a potential deal. But it's not only that. So we have a property sourcing company. The way that we do things is we charge the buyer a premium, so the investor a premium. And what we have to do for that is first assess the property to see its financial value in terms of investment. Then we give comparables to support the evidence based on if it's going to be an investment that they can have trust in. So for example, if a property we say that is going to be purchased 100,000 and then it would be revalued at say 140,000 with only 5,000 renovation, we'd have to assess all of that and give our supporting evidence to give them enough information that they can make an informed decision on the investment. So that's what you have to do. It's not only that, you're also going through the part where we assess the refurb. We're assessing if it's a viable investment. We then help throughout the legal process to get it through to legals, use our teams, so our power teams, our builders, our whole project management system, all of that. So we're providing a full turnkey service for anybody who invests with us. So that's how we make our money, is making sure that we provide the best service possible, and it is a service at the end of the day. So that's one way that you can make money from sourcing property. But the most important part is that you have to get the deals that match the criteria of the investor. The criteria of the investor could be either quite high or quite low, depending on the skill levels that they have. But the idea is that you've got to go then and source those types of properties, whether it's below market value properties, turnkey properties that have light renovations. It's all really about their criteria, and that's the way that I feel the property sourcing should be done. It's based off the criteria of the investor. Some people do it the other way, and they just go and find a deal and then put that across, no matter what it is. But if you put it in front of the wrong person, that might not match. So the idea is to understand the criteria of the investor so that you can know that you're making the right decision when you're going after a specific property and you're not just wasting your time. Now that you know what you do as a property sourcer and how you make money, now is the part where you need to actually be compliant. So compliance is a big key factor of being a property sourcer. Sourcing compliance is essential government regulation, so you need to adhere to these things. So in order to adhere to GDPR compliance, then you need to register with the ICO, which is the Information Conduct Authority, which is roughly about £40. Now this is if you're keeping any sort of information, so be it your investors, maybe it be on vendors, that's what you need to look at, and that's about £40. That's the same with any business operating and collecting information. So ICO is the first thing you need to do. The next part is professional indemnity and employer's liability. So making sure that you're compliant in regards to that. If you have got professional indemnity, it protects you against any kind of actions that you take and under your professional capacity within the business. Then employer's liability then covers you for any staffing issues that you might have when it comes to insurance. These insurances are there to protect both yourself and employees and the people that you work with, which is one of the things that I would highly recommend that you go forth and do. Employer liability is an essential part, and you have to get it if you are employing, so that is a legal requirement. An optional thing is to have a client account. This can be a separate account where you hold monies for your investors. This could be based on the purchase of the property or anything like that, or if it's to do with the letting side. But then again, that's another thing that you need to factor in, is a client account, and you need to have insurances that reflect that. The next thing you need to do is adhere to the property redress scheme, which is government regulation, which basically operates across the estate agency sector. So we are in a sense a form of estate agent, so we have to adhere to the same kind of schemes that an estate agent does. So in that sense, we need to either sign up to the property redress scheme as the property redress, which is the company, and then you have the property ombudsman. The idea behind this is that you are dealing with complaints procedures. So if you do have a complaint as to do with your operations as a business, then you have a complaints procedure there in place. Then you are adhering to the regulations set by the government. Both are very similar in terms of whether you go for property redress or the property ombudsman, and they cost roughly about the same amount, around the £200 mark. Last but not least is anti-money laundering, which is a HMRC regulation. So anti-money laundering is so that you don't launder money, or your clients are not laundering money through the investment. So that could be, for example, if people are buying properties outright with cash, you need to know where that money is coming from. So mainly what I would say is the solicitor has to take on this level of due diligence as well. So they do a lot of that work. So making sure that the money's and compliance side of things and where the money's coming from and is evident. So that is one aspect of it, making sure that you're adhering to anti-money laundering regulation, but we also need to be signed up to anti-money laundering regulation, which is around about 450 quid. So that's another factor to think about, is obviously that side of things. And now that you're fully compliant, now is the time to go and start getting deals. But how do we get deals? Well, the idea is that we're either getting off market, on-market properties that match that criteria that we talked about for your investors, and making it sure there's a lucrative investment for them based on their criteria. So the idea is that we're going to go out and find those deals. The main thing is we're going to find either off-market properties, which are going to be properties that are not currently on online portals or with estate agents, so they could typically be direct to vendor, which is another aspect of going directly to the person and then going and negotiating the deal through a private sale, which then cuts out the estate agent. We can do this through online advertising, we can do it through leaflet drop-in, we could do it through direct mail letters. So there's lots of different ways that you can do that, and I've got a breakdown of exactly what strategies we use in the link above, so you can go and look at that to source below market value deals. Also use on-market deals, which then could be on Rightmove, Zoopla, on the market, and your typical online portals, and find them there. Those ones are with agents at the moment, but you can still find deals. They're diamonds in the rough, so you might go through 100 offers to make one sale, but it is that kind of volume, so you need to be aware that you are going to be doing lots of viewings and you're going to be kind of sifting through to find the diamond in the rough. The best way then would be to get estate agents to give you deals before they go on to the market, and that's kind of that sweet spot, or to give you a tip when a deal is coming through, even if it's on the market. They know a bit more and you have to build really good relationships with them. So I also go over that in the video where I talk about getting below market value deals. And a huge part of making sure that we're finding deals is assessing whether they are deals. So you need to know the renovation costs needed, so refurb costs. You need to know the end value, so assessing based on what properties are in the area, likely how comparable it is to the property that you're looking at, so that you have an investment case and you can then back that up to the investor. The next thing then is estimating the rental income, so we know that roughly how much the rental will be. So when we assess our calculations and we spit out some of the key informations that the investor needs, whether it's yield, return on investment, ROC, whatever it is, then you can then give those in confidence to the investor with supporting information. Last but not least is finding the investor. So what we're acting is the middleman between the investor and the deal. So what we have to do then is marry the two together, and without one you don't have the other. So without the investor, I can't sell that deal. Without the deal and I haven't got an investor, then it's all going to break down as well. So the idea is that you need both of them. You need to run them alongside each other parallel, because you could get caught with a situation where you have a deal but no investor, or you have an investor with no deal. And the idea is that you've got to have both at the same time to make things happen. And that's why you are the middleman, connecting them together and making a profit in between. So that's your goal. That's what you're doing. You're facilitating investments for people, and without one or the other, it doesn't work. So in case of getting an investor, what you need to do is build good relationships with these investors. That could be online through social media, it could be through networking events, it could be through friends and family. It doesn't really matter. There's lots of ways that you can build relationships with people who might be investors or would be investors and aspiring investors. The idea is to tell as many people about what you do in different various ways and educate them on the case of investing in property. So knowing about property, showing that you're a competent investor yourself and you understand investing. Even if you haven't got your first deal, then all you need to do is evidence how you could then show them case studies of what could be. So you can show them examples of deals, maybe find one on the market and then show them a breakdown of an investment case. Just show that you are confident in what you're saying and really understand every aspect of the property journey. So what that's from the acquisition of the property, negotiating, getting it through legals, all the way to then letting it out once it's completed, and through the renovation, project management. I know I spouted a lot of things that need to be done, but these are all the things that you need to consider when purchasing a property on behalf of yourself and an investor. But your goal is to do all of that process and help them right the way throughout it. So understanding the process is so key. That gives you the confidence and the investor the confidence to know that they're using the right person to invest with you. So that was a breakdown of property sourcing, becoming a property sourcer, how to source property for yourself and an investor. All of that was just covered in this video. So if you have got value, please like, comment and subscribe. It helps more than you'll ever know. And I've got a link to the BMV, so that's a below market value property sourcing, so that you can go out and find deals that are going to be perfect for your investors. Then go and check out that video.